welcome to another Rumination Tarot video. Tonight, or today, whenever you're watching this, the world is looking for a little self-love. So I'm going to do a reading for, the tarot is going to give us a little advice on how we can love ourselves a little better. Take care of ourselves, look out for ourselves, challenge ourselves a little. Mostly it's just going to be to amp you up. If my voice sounds a little different, I'm just a little under the weather, but it's moving out. It's on its way out. That's what I keep saying. Yeah, so tonight for your options, I'm going to actually do the readings with different decks this time. So option number 1 is the Star Spinner Tarot, and you pick your Ace of Cups or Ace of Chalices so we can fill your cup. So that is option numero uno. For your second option, we have the Aquarian Tarot, and there's that beaming Ace of Cups. For option numero dos. And then for your third option, we have the Cosmic Slumber Tarot. With your little swimming in the cup fella or lady. That doesn't, yeah, something like that. Anyways, so that is option numero tres. You're welcome to watch all of the videos, all of the readings, and see if there are messages for you in each one. Or if you feel called to a particular one, I will have timestamps in the description box and in the comment section, so you can jump ahead and just watch that reading. And I will see you in your reading. Hello, group number 1. This is your reading if you chose, if you chose the Star Spinner Tarot. This is the Ace of Chalices. I did a couple of really good shuffles with the whole deck beforehand, but I'm just going to do a little more, with this more pleasing to the ear shuffle on camera, so that we can get into your energy. This is going to be your self-love reading. See what the tarot has to tell you about how to love yourself. I'm sure you already have some good ideas, but here are a few more. Okay. Alright. So first up, we are going to find out why you are amazing. One of the many reasons, I'm sure. Oh, you're a hard worker. So we've got, hello, Mr. Motorcycle or Loud Car. So we have the 8 of Pentacles or coins. It's coins in this deck. And yeah, this card always tells me that somebody is either needs to put in the work or is putting in the work, because this is why you're amazing. It tells me that you're a really hard worker. Once you have a set plan and your goals, you have no problems putting in the time to make your goals happen, make whatever you need to work on happen. And yeah, I like that they're like little clocks, so it's not just putting money and investing that kind of material thing, but also just investing your time. I like that he's also like in a business, very business casual. Keep it business, keep it casual, keep it casual. I'm sure there's going to be some great mispronunciations going on tonight. Yeah. So you're a hard worker, and one thing that I really like is his face. He's really proud of his work too. You can tell he like looks back and be like, look how much time I put into this. So I feel like you know how to look back on what you've been working on and think about the amount of time and the amount of effort and resources you've put into your projects, whatever kind of project or goal they may be. And if you don't feel like you already do that or know to do that, then this is your not wake up call, that sounds so intense, but this is your encouragement to like, okay, think about what you've accomplished. Think about where you've been putting your time and what you, maybe not even what you have to show for it, but just like, don't you feel proud of the things that you've invested time in? Yeah, so I'd say you're a very hard worker. And this is going to tell us what your past accomplishment is. Okay, so Ace of Wands, this is all about inspiration. So as a past accomplishment, this tells me that when you had that moment, that spark of inspiration, you put the work in, and you probably multiple times. It probably hasn't just been one inspiration, but it's like that work ethic comes in whenever you have this ignited spark of an idea. You invest your time in it, and you know which inspirations to follow. So this is telling me that there's something that was maybe just a tiny little inkling of a thought that you had, and you made it into something bigger. You knew to jump on it and follow it and turn it into a whole endeavor, rather than just like a sweet little daydream that passed by and didn't, not that there's anything wrong with those either, but sometimes it's cool to realize, oh, some of the stuff that I think about and ponder about can become a reality for me too, if you put in the hard work. So that's a recent past accomplishment. And this is what you bring to others, what you can provide for others. And you got the Four of Wands, so this tells me stability. Again, it's kind of like following that. When you have inspiration, you can turn it into something stable. And so maybe you are like a starter, like you're somebody that starts projects, and maybe you take them like further than most people would who start a lot of different projects would. You get a really nice foundation built, and then you hand it off to somebody else to carry on further, because maybe you're just interested in that initial spark and inspiration. You don't necessarily need to see things all the way through to the end. You just like to start the things and then hand them off. So that could be a possibility of like, once you've made that one wand four and it feels like something stable that you can show people and they'll be interested in, and they think I don't know, like once you've kind of made a little bit of something for it but you haven't finished it, you can hand it off and somebody else can make of it what they will. I'm kind of thinking of like an entrepreneur kind of thing, like starting businesses, and then once they're kind of off the ground running, not fully established yet, then you're like, okay, I'm handing this over to you. It also could have to do with relationships. You could put a lot of hard work into your relationships, and the Ace of Wands could be that you know that like spark of a feeling of like when someone is like a friend or a like romantic partner that you would want to pursue, and you don't pass up those opportunities. or you haven't in the past, at least 1 or 2 times, you know, you knew when to make that into something more stable. And yeah, oops, little droppy drop. Let's see what else we got going on. I'm sure I'll come back to these. And then, so for what are your skills and talents, you have the Hanged Man, and that's interesting. When I was shuffling off camera, this card fell out, so I wondered if it was going to show up. All right, so your skills and talent, I think when you get into a sticky situation or like when your world gets turned upside down, you really know how to, well, okay, so I'm really looking at the apples here. It's like, you know how to like make what other people would see as an unfortunate situation, you know how to like make it work to your advantage. Even if like initially you're like, oh man, this sucks, like why did I end up here? You know how to like take a moment and be like, okay, there's another way I need to be looking at this. And I just keep looking at these apples. So it's like, you may be caught hanging upside down in a tree, but you also know like, hey, there's some ripe fruit that I can pick if I just like, I don't know, work my abs a little bit so that I can reach up there. Or once I fall down, I can figure out a way to come back and get these apples. Like every single situation that you end up in, there is something, I don't want to say to profit from it, but kind of. Like there's, even if it's just like fruits of wisdom, or I don't even know if that's a word. I think fruits of labor is more common, but I like the idea of wisdom being fruit. It has to mature before you can eat it. Now I'm just thinking about eating wisdom and trying to imagine what that would look like. Eating books. Weird little tangent there, but yeah, so your skills and talents. Also, I really like in this version of the Hanged Man just like how laid back this dude is. Like he's not, I don't know, he just kind of looks like, oh yeah, I'm meant to be here. Or like, this is cool. This is just a great place for me to hang out and chill. He doesn't like have the same kind of like stuck and like, I don't know, not that the other one's super strained either, but like there's just something particularly laid back about him. And so I think you definitely have a talent for like, no matter what situation you get yourself into, you know how to make it work to your advantage. And why you might be feeling down about yourself right now, why you might feel like you need to develop your self-love a little more at the moment, is being represented by the Knight of Coins. So maybe you move a little slowly, like you feel like things aren't moving as fast as you would like them to. And even though you're clearly a hard worker and you know how to like develop things and turn sticky situations into sweet situations, it doesn't happen at the pace that you think it should. Like you think it should be moving a lot faster. But you're I don't know, I just rubbed his butt. Oh my god. But sorry. I'm trying not to like laugh to the point that I start coughing. What I was saying, you may not move at as quick of a pace as you would like, but the thing about the Knight of Pentacles is he's a really reliable and really dependable. Like it may not happen at the speed that you want, but it's going to happen. So don't feel down about yourself because of any kind of time frame. And it's so, like, we hear this all the time, like, don't compare yourself to others. Don't give yourself, like, a standard, like, time that things are supposed to happen, ages that you're supposed to hit certain milestones and things like that. And it's so easy to hear that, but it's also hard to do. Even if you don't think that you have, like, an interest in the conventional milestones, there's still going to be times where you're like, I'm like this old and I feel like I'm still 16, or I'm this old and I feel like I could be an 8-year-old child right now. And it's hard not to think about, like, okay, why haven't I progressed further? And that's just, I mean, I think when things don't feel like they're going our way, it's easy to, like, really sink into this feeling and these thoughts. But when they do start working our way again, then we realize, okay, that's why that had to go at that pace, or that's just who I am. And if it had gone any quicker, I would have been overwhelmed. And so the last card is going to be your advice for how to practice self-love. How can you show your self-love? And it is being represented by the 5 of coins. That's really interesting. So this is, and especially, like, I don't know, I've had this deck a while, but I don't really remember seeing this version of this card. Usually this is like the 2 people, one of them's kind of disabled outside the church window, like out in the cold. And this one is like a broken fairy tale mirror and like a little child. So this is saying, don't leave yourself out in the cold. Don't, like, remember that, like, no matter where you are, what's going on, you still have an inner child, and you still need to take care of it. And you don't, like, whenever you start feeling particularly bad, it's probably because you're not nurturing that little kid in you. And maybe you're too focused on, like, where the Knight of Pentacles is thinking about, how am I going to become king? Like, maybe you're neglecting the child in you. And this card has a lot to do with, like, poverty or just, like, financial strain. Excuse me. So I'm trying to, maybe this is also about, like, maybe this is you looking at other people who are in dire straits, and it's kind of like reminding you that, like, sometimes, like, your needs aren't being met, so you can't let yourself be brought down by, like, the world of needs not being met by others, if that makes any sense at all. I'm just, well, and it's like you're this woman and this child, and it really has, like, this feeling of, like, a shattered illusion. I'm trying to think of how, maybe it's like asking you to repair, like, your childhood illusions. Like, my phone's about to be full. I'm going to try and sum this up real quickly then. It may be telling you, like, you've had this shattered illusion from your childhood of what you thought life was going to feel like, and it's maybe saying that, like, that image wasn't entirely wrong, you've just hit some hard times, and you can take care of yourself by trying to mend those cracks. Instead of, like, get rid of that image altogether and throw the mirror out, it's like repair it and figure out what what parts of your, like, envisioned adult life are still possible, because a lot of it is probably still possible. Just take care of your little inner child, please. You're awesome. You're a hard worker. You deserve to feel really proud of yourself. I mean, I'm getting really cool vibes just off of what I see here. And it looks like you have a lot of potential to have a really nice, happy ending. This is the 10 of Cups. This is about emotional fulfillment. And there's just a message of balancing things out a little bit. I think you're doing good, though. Thanks for watching the reading. comment if you have anything you'd like to share with me about your reading or anything. I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good night, good day, good evening, good morning, good mid-afternoon. Until next time. Hello and welcome, group number 2. This reading's for you if you chose the Ace of Cups from the Aquarian Tarot deck. So I did a good bit of shuffling off camera, but I'm going to do just a little bit more on camera to get a good, a good little amount of your energy in there. I don't know. I would do full-blown shuffling on camera if I just had more like memory storage to record longer videos. But alas, at the moment I do not. So this will have to suffice. I hope you're doing well, and if you're not, I hope you are feeling the self-love when the video is over. So we're going to see what kind of advice the tarot has. I think it's going to be, the first group is kind of, the Fool, very interesting. It was kind of just talking about like why you're cool, what kind of skills you have, what you've been through a little bit, and yeah, then we'll go from there. So this first card is why you are amazing. Ooh, the 7 of Cups. So you've got a vivid imagination, a nice fantasy world in that skull. If this is anything like the first group, I'm in a really weird mood right now, so you might be a little entertained, you might be a little weirded out. We'll see. But yeah, so the 7 of Cups always makes me think of, I feel like I got this very early on when I first got this tarot deck in a reading I did for myself, and it was pretty much calling me out, like, stop living in your head, stop living in your little imagination land. But this is showing up as your strength. So you could be very creative. But yeah, your imagination is really coming out as a strength. And this card has something to do with like confusion too. So maybe you handle really confusing situations well and you thrive in them. Excuse me. I'm trying not to hack directly into the microphone. Yeah. I'm gonna get a little drink of water. To avoid coughing all over. Okay, so this next card is about a past accomplishment that you've had. Ooh, the World. Okay, I think I got my little coughing fit under control. We're back to the video now. Sorry about that. Ooh. So, your past accomplishment is being represented by the World. Oh, and I also had a thought while I was trying to clear up my little coughing fit about the 7 of Cups. And I don't know, it just made me think that maybe you have really flowery words. Like your imagination is used to tell stories or to like be a public speaker or something. Because I was just thinking coughing might have to do with like throat chakra stuff, which is like communication based or like speaking your mind, speaking up for yourself. So either that's something you're struggling with a little bit, or you use this like vivid imagination to propel you further in that kind of arena. But anyways, okay, next to that this is like about a recent past accomplishment, and I don't know, I think it's really interesting that it's being represented by the World, because that is like the card that means you've completed the Fool's journey. You've like, so your past accomplishment, or like recent past accomplishment, is that you closed out like some huge chapter. You completed some really big project or goal in your life. Maybe you're feeling very like self-actualized. And that could be why like the Seven of Cups is representing like what's amazing about you, because maybe you've accomplished a lot of your like material goals, and so now you're in a more like, I don't know, I keep thinking of that as like imagination and fantasy, but it's represented by cups, which is all about emotions and not necessarily thought. So I guess it could be getting carried away with your emotions. Anyways, I don't know that I tied those two thoughts together. This also could have to do with traveling. Like you could have, maybe, this is a very specific situation and I don't know if it'll resonate with anyone watching, but maybe like during the whole pandemic, you were like away from your home country because that's where you were either in a temporary living situation or something like that, and you have finally found a way to get yourself back home after all of that, or like you were about to go live abroad from your home, and because of Miss Corona you couldn't, and now you're finally to a point, or just recently you were able to like continue and carry on with that goal of travel. Yeah, I think you've definitely accomplished something really huge for yourself. Something you should really be proud of. And so this is what you offer to others. Wow, Queen of Cups. So you're very nurturing and you take care of people. You know how to like be an emotional rock for others. Yeah, just a very nurturing individual. You like have this like wide open cup of emotion and consciousness that again, very flowery. I think everything's like very embellished and maybe like very aesthetically pleasing and beautiful. Just like your thoughts and your like the vibe you give off, and I feel like you have an abundance of it, so you share it with others. There's always like a little bit of the other side of this, especially because of like where it's showing up in the spread, is that maybe you do that a little too much and you look out for others before you take care of yourself. But I think you do have like a big well of emotional abundance to draw from. But sometimes when you have like when you're in that position where you feel like very stable and nurturing, you give and give and give, and then it's like only when it's too late that you realize, oh, I didn't really have that to give anymore. But yeah, I think you definitely are a very supportive person for the people around you, for your loved ones. It's funny because she almost has like in this deck a little like, I think everybody in this deck kind of has sort of somber, cold look to them, but she doesn't have like, you would think she'd have like rosy cheeks a little bit and maybe just a little bit of a smile. But maybe that's showing that you know you've experienced some of that like giving too much, so you know how to like have a colder front so that you're only giving to the people who really get close to you and deserve it. This is a card representing your skills and talents. Oh, that's funny. So for your skills and talents, you're being represented by the Queen of Swords. So this is somebody who's got a very sharp tongue, and again, flowery words. Like, I really think it's funny because some people might think that these are really opposite queens, and like people see you as the Queen of Cups, this emotionally giving person, but then you also have, maybe you're just really good at choosing your words so that you can say things that are difficult to hear, but in a way that doesn't like upset people. Because yeah, sometimes like the Queen of Swords can be like too biting with her tongue, and her words can be too blunt and not minced, unminced, whole. They can just be too like direct. But the combination of the two makes me think that like you have the kind of personality and the use of words, your imagination makes it possible for you to say this kind of difficult to hear things in a way that doesn't bother people. And it also shows a little bit of mastery over your mental state, because swords are representative of like mental challenges and the mind, thought. You could very easily be a writer. I'm getting very big with the like 7 of Cups, and this writer again, public speaker is kind of coming up. And all these flowers, like I really think you're a very like artistically like presented, and particularly your words, I just want to use like embellished words, and like you say things like flourished and I also like note the free flowing like hair, like with your emotions they're tied back just a little bit, but with your words it's like they roam free. Yeah, I think like this hilt being covered with flowers again is just saying like you have a really nice way of delivering difficult messages. All right, why might you be feeling down about yourself now? Why were you drawn to a video about self-love? What makes you think that you need a little bit more of that right now? 7 of Rods. So you might be overwhelmed by your options at the moment. This particular illustration of this card always makes me think of like a person who looks very anxious about all these possibilities. But this card is usually about standing up for what you believe and standing up against opposition. So maybe for the maybe recently you're noticing when you say these difficult things, no matter how nicely you say them, you're getting a lot of backlash from people, and it's making you like you're not used to that. You're used to just saying things in such a way that nobody knows how to respond or knows how to fight back, and recently you're getting a lot of like pushback on what you're saying, and it's making you second guess yourself. I always think of this card as the like like say you're standing up for something you believe and somebody questions you on it, and to the point that you're like, do I really feel that strongly about it? Do I want to fight for this as much as I think I do? Have I just been fighting for it so long that I haven't really checked in with myself to see if it's still something I believe in, or like am I fighting for it in the right way, in the most effective way? I think this is just a card of kind of like after you've been fighting for something for a long time, and I mean rods are all about passion, like it's something you're very passionate about, but it's like an obstacle that makes you question very deeply, like, is this still something that I want to go after? And I mean, I think for the most part this shows up to encourage you to continue going after it, and is like a minor obstacle. It's not something that's supposed to deter you from your goals. So because this is showing up as the why do you feel down about yourself, it's like maybe you're just not used to opposition at all, And you're taking it as like a personal affront rather than just like somebody's trying to challenge your beliefs. Like, not saying that they disagree with you or whatever the case may be. Maybe they do disagree with you, but maybe that should make you stand up and fight just as strongly as you were before. But also, like, if you're not feeling like you can stand up to this right now, maybe that's where the self-care comes in. Maybe it's time to give yourself a break of fighting and maybe put down the sword for a minute. And it doesn't mean you're not fighting for the things that are important to you anymore. It's just, there's got to be an ebb and flow sometimes. You can't just fight without any kind of rest and recuperation. And this obstacle could, excuse me, just be an opportunity for you to rest a little bit. Or it could just be like one little thing that you have to push through, and then you'll feel better. And this is a way that you can show yourself self-love. King of Cups. So, emotional stability. So, I think of this as a person who, well, the Queen of Cups, I always think of a person who, like, gives her emotions freely and takes care of people. I think that the King of Cups has that capability and does that, but he doesn't, like, go out offering it to other people, if that makes sense. Kings are very, like, stationary and fixed. They usually sit on their throne. And so, maybe if someone comes to him and, like, presents a problem to them, he will offer some of his emotional stability. And I just think of somebody who, like, really is in check with their emotions in whichever direction that they need to be. Like, still has a bit of, like, caring and nurture, but isn't gonna just, like, dole it out. If you come to the king and present your case, if he thinks you're deserving, then he will share some of his emotional maturity with you. And so this could be saying that the way you can care for yourself right now is to let people come to you, which is kind of interesting because when, like, people talk about masculine and feminine energy, the masculine energy is usually the one that goes out and offers, and then the feminine energy is what receives and accepts. Again, that's kind of traditional, though. That doesn't have to apply to you. But it's interesting that, like, in this case, I think that the King of Cups is a person who sits on his throne and lets people come to him, and then he decides what he can manage and what is deserving of his time and emotion and his feelings. He's not just, like, look, he's still holding the cup kind of close to his chest, and he's ready to hand it out, but it's like, you gotta come to me and, like, state your case. So it's interesting. It feels like there's, like, a couple of different, there's, like, a lot of things that it's telling me about maybe your personality and stuff. And again, there's, like, the stuff about the, like, you could be a writer or just really good with your words and with your speech. But something about it seems a little, like, disconnected in a way. That could just be to me, though. I'm trying to figure out where this Fool comes into. So, well, that's really interesting also, Wheel of Fortune. So this is maybe something that's kind of up to fate. So when you complete the world, when you complete the Fool's journey, and you reach this whole self identity, then you go back to being the fuel. Maybe that's significant. Fuel. You need to fuel something. So maybe this is saying you're kind of back at square one. Even though you're a king, even though you're very established, now you really, that maybe this is just, like, confirming for you that something in your life is a closed chapter. Like, you have completed it. It is in its entirety done, and it's time to start using your imagination to go find something new and exciting, to go conquer something else. So I'm trying to think in tarot, like usually I feel like the suits are wands, cups, swords, and then pentacles, or it could be swords, cups, pentacles. So it might be like saying you've mastered your emotions, you've mastered like this level of consciousness. It could be time to like start your material journey and start trying to build like something foundational, especially if you're somebody who travels a lot. This could be like a time for you to set your roots somewhere. But as far as self-love goes, sorry, that's like kind of completely off topic. I'm just like very interested in the fact that the World and the Fool are both here. And like so many like higher level court cards. Like you feel very established. So maybe like when you're established, it can be hard to find like people above you to nurture you. Like it looks like you might be somebody who nurtures others a lot. So maybe if you are this Queen of Cups, it's telling you to be your own King of Cups for yourself. Like I mean, which is a big part of taking care of yourself. Like what? Maybe like rule over. I'm trying to think of like a clean way to say it. Not clean, like as in like a clear, concise. Brevity is not my strong suit. Like the king rules over the kingdom, right? And he looks after the queen, traditionally speaking, if we're talking old school. And this is saying that you have you have a lot of that energy within you. You definitely have both of these. And I think you can take care of yourself. Your self-love will show up with the King of Cups. Like that foundational, stable, come to me, I'm the king, and I will make decisions. I will do what I can to protect my kingdom. His kingdom is the realm of emotions and relationships. He's gonna look after you, or you're going to look after you because you are him. But you have to lean into that like ruler type role. Not that the queen isn't a ruler, but she's a more active ruler. And I think she goes out and does things for the kingdom, whereas he like lets all the issues come to him and he decides what's important. And so I think this is telling you, let things come to you and decide from there what is worth your emotions. I want to say like blood, sweat, and tears, but this is very much regarding your emotions. And in the meantime, have fun in Fantasyland. So yeah, I'm very rambly. These have been kind of longer readings tonight, but I hope you enjoyed. If you want to tell me if it resonated or not in the comments, please feel free to do so. I hope you'll come back for another video. Until next time, thank you. Good night. Hello and welcome to your reading, group number 3. This is for you if you chose the Cosmic Slumber Tarot. There is an up-close look at your Ace of Cups. Oops, there we go. So I did most of my shuffling off camera, but I'm going to do a little bit on camera for you. If I had more storage on my phone here, I would just film the whole thing for you. Anyways, I hope you're doing well. Let's see if we can get you some self-love advice. I'm also going to try very hard not to hack into the camera I still have a little bit of a cough going. Okay. So the last group had the world in their spread, and you have the universe, which is this deck's version of the world, at the bottom of your deck. So that's interesting. Again, there might be like you might have just closed out a really big chapter of your life or completed a really big project. Let's see. So this first card is going to tell me why you are amazing, or one of the many reasons. Oh, the Queen of Pentacles. I love this Queen of Pentacles. She has like the most serene, calming little face, and the way she's like tenderly petting that cow. I love it. This deck, the Pentacles, always give me really strong nature vibes. So it feels like a queen of nature, but also like of material wealth. So you must be a very stable, I think of like the Queen of Cups as nurturing, but you're also nurturing in a different way. For some reason in particular, I'm getting the feeling that like you give a lot of really good hugs, and like healing hugs that like make people feel like they're hugging their mom. You might dress pretty cool. Like, I'm getting like this like kind of granny sweater, like it almost looks like a Golden Girls outfit, but like it's stylish and it really works for you. And you could be like, you could identify as anything. This is just, I'm calling her she and stuff because it's the Queen of Pentacles. But yeah, I'm noticing all the flowers. Like, I guess like things grow around you. Like, you have a way of encouraging growth in your environment, and you have a very like serene, stable way of presiding over your environment, whatever it is, wherever it may be. Like, she could have come from anywhere. She could have come from the city and just like was like, I'm gonna sit outside this forest with all of this beautiful brush and this cow, and now that's her domain. Like, wherever you are, you're a queen. You have some regal energy, but I get really calming, sweet vibes. I'm definitely feeling that like mom hug. This is going to represent a recent accomplishment, a past accomplishment, and it is being represented by the Four of Cups. So in this deck, I always think that this reminds me more of the Four of Swords than the Four of Cups. But I am very focused today on how this person, they look like they're sleeping, but they're also holding on to this cup. And like the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, there's like, I feel like the character looks very bored, and there's 3 cups that they're just like disinterested in, and there's like this 4th cup being like reached out from behind a tree or something. And it's like, maybe that's the opportunity that they would be interested in if they just looked in the direction of it and saw that it was being like handed to them. The way that this card is illustrated, I'm taking it as like, especially since this is your accomplishment, is that you have recently taken that opportunity. And like, even though you're resting and maybe you weren't like the most energetic and like, oh my gosh, this is the thing I've always wanted, but you still saw that it was an opportunity and it was the best thing for you to do with the options that you had at the time. So I think your recent accomplishment, and also there's just again a very like restful quality to this, of like you're taking advantage of this opportunity, but not overexerting yourself and not like pushing yourself too hard to do so, or you didn't to do so. You picked the option that would allow you to rest and keep your, like, it looks like maybe you're struggling a little bit with your emotions because this is the water, and it always looks so static to me in this deck, like a kind of like shaking, I don't know what to do with myself emotions. And so you're like, okay, this is my best option to kind of keep this at bay while I'm working out the confusion and everything around me. So yeah, I think that your recent accomplishment is that you did provide yourself with self-love by taking the not path of least resistance, but like taking the more inactive options so that you can rest and heal, because I think maybe something really difficult was going on that you needed to heal from. This is the card that represents what you offer others. The Six of Torches. So I think maybe you inspire other people that they can be successful, because this is a card about like victories and not like major accomplishments, but like still something that you're proud of, something that you might brag about. So I don't know that you necessarily brag, but maybe just like being around people, they have to acknowledge your successes. Like, it's impossible to be around you without realizing, okay, they were successful in this way and that way. I mean, you're the Queen of Pentacles. And so maybe people seeing you like in that power makes them feel like, hey, I could do that too. And it has this like after effect of like all of the flames on these torches. It's like that's your accomplishments, and the smoke gets to other people and like has a much further reach than just the initial torch and flame. And it's like creating this pathway, leading people. So I think you offer a lot of inspiration to other people. And this is kind of cool because I feel like in the other two groups, the thing that like came up in this position was very much like a energetic like offering to other people that can be depleted and end up being like not good for the self. And in this one, it's like you're maybe not even doing anything different than you would have no matter what. Like, you're just being yourself and doing like trying to accomplish your goals and survive and stuff, and people see that and see it as a like a success story that they want to I don't know, it just like empowers them that they could do something similar, or they could accomplish their own goals. Again, especially if you like know how to take the time to take care of yourself and be successful, like that's huge. It's not something that a lot of us know how to balance. What are your skills and talents? Ooh, the Tower. Again, it's like like when your world falls apart and there is destruction around you, you know how to lean into it and let those things fall away and be broken apart and realize that it's like it's happening for your good, because the Tower is like a painful kind of catastrophic event, but it's something that needed to happen. It's something that needs to be like yanked away from us, or else we're not going to learn that lesson. We're not going to move away from it. Sometimes it's like people that we need to move away from. It's like it could be like your mindset or beliefs. And so this is showing up as your skills and talents. Either you're really good at being this tower moment for other people. So like maybe you know how to like tell people this is something like you have to stop doing right now. This is going to destroy you. You can keep doing what you're doing, but something eventually is going to bring this tower down. Whether it's me having this conversation with you, or it's like some external force that feels a lot more dramatic. So either you provide tower moments for other people, or you just really know how to take advantage of your own tower moments. And hopefully you don't have to have too many, but maybe you had like one really big, hopefully we don't have to have too many of these in our each individual lifetime, but we're all probably going to have at least one major one. And it tells me that you have, and you came back from it. Again, like you took this restful moment, and people saw that as a success. Even if you felt like, I'm not doing anything, all I'm doing is pulling myself back together, people saw that as a success, and they still see you as this Queen of Pentacles. So I think one of your talents is perseverance through like trauma. Why do you feel down on yourself? So this might be why you are feeling the need to watch a video about self-love. This could be, it's being represented by the Emperor. And so this is kind of like representing traditional masculine qualities. There's a lot of stability to it, aggression and action, kind of. It may be a person, like there could be a person that you think of as representative of the Emperor. It could be a male figure that holds a really overpowering position in your mind and your self-worth. And so maybe you're letting a particular person make you feel brought down, like you don't feel like you're to their standard, even though you're clearly like an incredible person. There's like one person that you haven't gotten the approval of, and it's making everything else not feel worth it. That could be a possibility. It could be that you are being brought down by the patriarchy as a whole. Just gotta throw that out there, because this is just like the ultimate masculine kind of card. It could be that your own masculine attributes are making you feel like this other a compliment, especially like the healing. I think sometimes because masculinity is representative of like action and aggression and things like that, sometimes it doesn't think that there's any space or time for healing or vulnerability. So even though you're being a boss at taking care of yourself and being vulnerable, your masculine side, all the masculinity within you is like talking down to you for doing that, and it's like, think of what we could have been accomplishing all this time. Don't listen to it. There's a time and a place for masculinity, but I think now you need a lot of like comforting feminine energy around you. And yeah, I really like this illustration of the Emperor, but it also is very menacing. It almost feels more like the devil. And like, I always notice this lamb, and it's like, it's kind of protective, but it's also kind of like menacing, how it's like shielding this little calf. It almost feels like there's something creepy about it. So I do feel like, alright, so we got cut off while I was going on and on about the Emperor and how it's been bringing you down. Yeah, so I feel like I probably talked about that a lot. Sorry, it's been a minute. I had to like charge my phone up a little bit and recalibrate everything. Yeah, so there could be an external masculine influence that is really making you feel less than, and it's incorrect, by the way. There's no merit to it. You're just either giving it too much power, or again, it could be an internal masculine influence. It could be the masculine side of you that is just being down on yourself, and unrightfully so. Especially because, like, I mean, this is like kind of the overarching energy of the whole reading, and it's the universe. It's like the completion card. I think you've been through some really major things, and you're not giving yourself credit for, I mean, how wonderful you really are. So don't listen to the Emperor, whatever it may be in your world. If it's a specific person, take some time away from them, or just like question within your brain, or maybe even directly to them, like, what gives them the authority to make you feel down about yourself? Why is it, like, why do they have so much power over you? And it's probably undeserving. So this is, yep, exactly. This is how you should practice self-love, how you can be giving yourself love right now. And it's the Empress, all about nurturing and the feminine attributes. So, I mean, this is saying, again, lean into your femininity. Lean into the softness and the sometimes I have a hard time talking about like the feminine and masculine archetype kind of thing, or not even archetype, but like structures, because it's like you hear about it so much in every direction and all of that, but it's like I've absorbed that information, but it's hard for me to like reduce it down and then like speak about it again to you. But I'm trying my best. Excuse me. I'm gonna let you look at this for a moment while I get my water, because the cough attack's coming back. It just seems so like perfect that the way to combat the Emperor would be the Empress. Okay, I think I got a hold of myself now. The patriarchy does not want me to tell you to lean into your Empress. See, it's out to get me. Oh, so much for this being enjoyable to listen to. Sorry. Whew. I was already thinking, like, with the rest of this reading, like, you need to just go find someone to mother you. Maybe your own mother, if you have that. That's possible. If you have a mother that you're close to that could nurture you and, like, build you up. But I'm like, now I'm imagining, like, you need to be this little baby. Like, maybe don't go suck on somebody's teat, but, let yourself be nurtured and cared for. And, I mean, this reading is about self-love, so this is about doing it for yourself. Treat yourself the way that you would treat your own child, or your own, anything that you would feel like a maternal instinct towards. Maybe you don't feel like you naturally have maternal instincts, but I'm not really getting that with you, because just the way that you're represented by the Queen of Pentacles, and I think that maybe you do have maternal instincts, even if they're not like in the traditional or obvious ways. There's also like this sternness to her face too. So I think it's like, be protective. Like, imagine if this like Emperor influence took her baby, she would not have it. She would be like, she would fuck him up. And I think you need to, like, anytime you let this intrude your thoughts, intrude your self-worth, intrude anything about yourself, like, think about this person and use, like, this side of yourself to combat that and be like, no, fuck off. I'm a badass bitch. Or bastard, badass bastard. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think if there's... I'm looking at the, like, surroundings, and, like, it almost looks like lava. A lot of times, I think, like, with the Empress, or maybe it's the Queen of Pentacles, they'll have, like, sand under their throne. She also looks, like, built into the earth. The Empress also talks about natural things in nature. Like, again, it's that sort of, like, fluidity and, like, receptivity where, like, the Emperor is about maybe action or, like, building structures and, like, building cities. The Empress is kind of about, like, going with the flow of what is naturally already here. Like, even, like, look in this card, like, even though it's kind of spacey and kind of unclear where she is, there's still, like, the range. She's not moving away from it. She's totally cool with it being here. She realizes that it is nurturing the foliage that's around her. It's a part of, like, the circle of life. It's just, like, accepting of her current environment. Yeah, I just keep thinking you need to love yourself like a mother. And that feels, like, unfair to say if, like, you don't have, like, a very good example of a maternal figure in your life. But maybe it doesn't have to be, like, your biological mother. But there's probably been, hopefully there's been women in your life that represented this maternal energy, though, that you can model yourself after and take care of yourself the way they would, speak to yourself the way they would. Sometimes that means you need a little tough love, but I think that what I'm getting from the rest of this is that you're being too hard on yourself, and that you need to give yourself the hug that, like, you give the cow. You need to give that motherly hug to yourself and energetically do so, because, yeah. I'm sending you an energetic hug through this video. And, yeah, I think you're really powerful. I think you've been through a lot, and maybe you don't feel like you've externally received love in a way that makes it easy for you to, like, bank on your self-love, and maybe that's why you feel drawn to this. But you're entirely deserving of every kind of love, external, internal. And anytime you hear that really, like, heavy negative voice, remember that it's something that you're probably giving too much power to. Anyways, I love you dearly, whoever you are out there. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to tell me about your situation in the comments, if you want any verification on anything, let me know. I'll be happy to get back to you. Until next time, have a good night, good morning, good day, good mid-afternoon, middle of the night, whenever you're watching. Sending you lots of love.